Football at 4 is powered by the Inside the Birds podcast. It is brought to you by the Fanatics Sportsbook at Ocean Casino Resort in Atlantic City. That place is going to be jumping this weekend. Sunday Night Football, Eagles, and the Lions. Adam Caplan from the Inside the Birds podcast is here, and he is set to bring us a Friday edition of Football at 4. And, of course, the two teams, one team banged up. I mean, I got the injury report for the Lions in front of me. They almost need a second page, Adam, with all the guys that they got. Terrion Arnold is out. Sam Laporta is out. Kirby Joseph is out. Those are three key guys. They got a bunch of guys questionable as well. So we'll start both of these teams on two different paths in terms of the injuries.
Yeah, they actually have a lot more players out than that, Mike. So you got to look at their entire roster. So Christian Mahogany went on IR. He was one of their starting guards from Boston College. He went on IR last week with a knee injury. You're not going to believe this one. You'll never believe who's starting for him. A former Eagle. You probably won't get it. Coyote Iwashika, who was a practice squad player.
I do remember him now that you say it, the offensive lineman,
Yep. He starts for him. Laporta's out. Brock Wright is their wide tight end. Will start for him. Journeyman Ross Dwelly, former Niner and Falcon tight end, will back him up. Marcus Davenport, they're hopeful. The off-injured Marcus Davenport has a chance to play. Terrion Arnold has been a disappointment. He's out with a concussion. And you know who's going to start? A little bit of a local flavor here, Mike. When you look at the Lions here at the cornerback position, it's going to be none other than former Temple star corner Rock Yassin will start for him. And depending on whether Amik Robertson, who would have been their nickel this season, he's playing on the outside. He got hurt in yesterday's practice. They don't know if he's going to be able to play. Limited today, he'll be a game day decision. If he can play, journeyman Arthur Millette will start for him. Kirby Joseph is out again, one of the top 3 or 4 safeties of the National Football League. Thomas Harper, they claimed off waivers in August. He'll start again for Joseph. Mike, it's just remarkable how beat up this football team is now. On offense, Laporta's a big one, Mike. I mean, let's call it what it is. Not having Laporta, he's really athletic, great seam catcher, and it's a shame. Now, I'll say this, though. The weather is going to be windy Sunday night. The gusts throughout the game are going to be 25 to 35 miles an hour. So when it's not gusty, maybe they'll throw it. But, Mike, watch the wind if you're going to the Link on Sunday night.
Well, and you know, we'll talk about the Eagles' side of the ball in just a second here. But they are really banged up. But yet here they are 6-3. They have somehow persevered with all the injuries. And that is kind of the mentality that this team has. And we know that their mentality is, Adam, they've had this game circled. This is a game that they have looked at really since they got knocked out by Washington last year.
Yeah, and the craziness is of last week's game for the Lions meant nothing in terms of rivalry because Washington was so beat up, having 8 starters out. I mean, it just didn't really matter. But you have this game that it's circled because they know the Eagles are the defending champions.
Yeah.
So, and they've struggled mightily in Philly for many years. So yeah, this is a big game. Look, Dan Campbell talked about it, and by the way, he was someone who voted or he pushed. He made sure the Lions did not vote against the push play, Eagles push play. So he actually his quotes are really interesting. He just feels like you can't start legislating everything. If it's in there, leave it in there. So I wonder because the Packers actually hate the play, but the Lions, Mike, they're for it. It's interesting.
All right, let's look at the Eagles side of things. Cam Jurgens is the only big name that you're kind of wondering about. The Eagles are pretty healthy entering this game here.
Yeah, now, Jurgens worked today. We don't know how much he did. Usually, Mike, going back like 4 or 5 years, you and I usually get the injury report right at 4 o'clock. Lions released theirs, Eagles have not. The only player we were concerned about in terms of starting was Cam Jurgens. Of course, Brett Toth would start for him. Ask Greg Cosell on our show this week, Inside the Tape. He said, it wasn't noticeable like it was when he played great against the Giants. So nothing bad, nothing good. It wasn't noticeable. Where previously, look, when Brett Toth didn't play well, we all could see it. We didn't need the all-22. So that's something to watch. But I'd be slightly surprised if Jurgens doesn't play, but we don't know yet. So we'll see what happens. But the good thing for the Eagles is, Mike, Ja'Cory and Bennett, they have till 4 p.m. Eastern tomorrow to put him on the roster, to actually activate him for the game. In terms of making a decision, he's on the roster. It's just a matter of they'll in their final in their what they do, Mike, tonight is they'll decide whether he's going to be up or not for the game tomorrow. Game on Sunday night. But all the roster moves have to be done. He's on the roster. Any roster move has got to be done by 4 p.m. Eastern, and that would include anyone who's really elevated at this point. Because Darius Cooper, he injured his shoulder last week. He came back in the game. Dickerson looked good in yesterday's practice. He should be good to go. Lane Johnson took all his reps yesterday, Mike. The big one is Willie Lampkin. That's the one I was thinking of, Mike, not Ja'Cory Bennett. So they would have Willie Lampkin is on injured reserve. They would have till 4 p.m. Eastern to activate him for the game. I'd be surprised if he plays this season. He's more of a developmental player at this point for the future. They've got 3 years left on his contract. We'll see what happens. Nolan Smith, Mike, got through practice this week. Tyler Steen told the media he's good to go. So we're just waiting right now on Cam Jurgens. We'll see what happens. But the Eagles feel a lot more confident on Brett Tooth than they did like 3 or 4 weeks ago. Let's face it.
Yeah, and obviously this is a big game for both these teams. We talked about it earlier, Adam. 47% if Philly wins for them to get the number 1 seed in the NFC. For Detroit with a win, they would give them a 20% chance to be the number 1 seed here. But health certainly matters here. But we know that Philadelphia on the defensive side of the ball, you mentioned Ja'Cory Bennett, Adoree Jackson, Kaylee Ringo. That'll be something to kind of keep an eye on because I thought Vic Fangio had an interesting little segment on yesterday when he answered the question of Cooper DeJean. He said, well, if somebody doesn't play well enough, it almost sounds like he's willing to open the door a little bit to move him out there. I don't think we'll see it. I don't think we'll see it tomorrow night, Sunday night, though.
Right. No, but he's definitely open to it. Why? Because they're trying to win. I mean, and I get the question about future and next year. Coaches could care less about next year. They're only going to talk about or think about trying to win a Super Bowl here, which the Eagles are certainly in line to do. Again, they could do it. They could stay healthy. And DeJean has always been that guy that was in the back of Vic's mind. He'd rather not do it. Ja'Cory Bennett is now on the roster. They'll make that decision whether he plays or not, or dresses or not. I know the inactives come Sunday, but they have the personnel meetings usually after Friday's practice, and they decide fully after the walkthrough tomorrow. So Bennett's healthy, Mike. This is 3 weeks now he's practiced, plus the bye week, Mike. He should be able to play on Sunday. Why not have him active? The fact is they do not want to play Ringo. I mean, we all know this. It's not a secret. We've told people for 3 years he's a number 4 corner. That's proven to be correct.
Right.
He's an excellent special teams player, and he has value, but he's just not a starting corner. They know that. They've tried it repeatedly. He's been beaten out every time. So he's relegated to special teams. He had to play 4 snaps on defense last week due to Quinyon Mitchell leaving briefly. By the way, Quinyon Mitchell is not listed on the injury report, which is a good thing. So,
well, listen, he's a huge factor back there. I wanted to get your take on, obviously AJ's been a topic of conversation, but is this just what he is this year? Are we at the point where this just is what he is, or does him kind of saying this make them have to dig a little deeper to find a way to get him involved?
Well, Mike, Kevin Patullo, I think, has done an average job at best. The more experienced coordinators, just talking to coordinators over the years, when they're struggling to get their number 1 guy the ball, it doesn't usually take this long. Last year, A.J. Brown did not have a down year, despite what people have said. In fact, it was totally false. If you look at his averages per game, yards in particular, average per catch, I mean, everything was really good last year. He just missed, I think, 4 games due to injury, due to knee injury. This year's been crazy. I'm stunned like everyone else. To me, a more experienced coordinator would get him the ball much earlier and more consistently. That's, by the way, let's call it like it is. This is Nick Sirianni's scheme. Kevin Patullo has been coaching in it now. This is his 5th year. He should be able to get him the football. This is on Sirianni. It's on Patullo. This is not acceptable. And I can't imagine Jeffrey Lurie, when he looks at how much they're paying A.J. Brown, well over $30 million in cash, I can't imagine he's very happy about it. So this has got to be corrected. And I know that there's going to be wind. The conditions might not allow it. But if there are times when it's not windy, Mike, on Sunday night, get the guy the football. And the matchups are so good for the Eagles Sunday night against the corners. They didn't do it last week, and we talked about it in our pregame show, which, by the way, will be available to Patreon members. We're gonna put the pregame show up tonight. Myself, Jeff, and Greg Cosell tomorrow morning the whole country could get it. But I'm telling you, this is a great matchup for the Eagles. If the conditions allow it, you've got to go after those corners.
All right, before we rock and roll here, Adam Caplan on a Friday edition of Football at 4, the Eagles secondary, if Adore's playing or Ringo's out there for whatever reason against St. Brown, Jamison Williams. I know they don't have Laporta, that does it, but that worry you more, or the Gibbs-Montgomery duo and the run game up against the Eagles, rush defense?
All right, we'll break some news in here. Cam Jurgens has been cleared, so that's great, Mike.
Good stuff.
Cam Jurgens took all his reps today. Let me see. Let me just double check here. I'm trying to go through this as we speak, Mike.
Yep.
Jurgens does not have any game status designation. He took all the reps today. He will start. Unless something happens in pregame, of course. Now, I know he's wearing a brace in practice. Willie Lampkin, by the way, with his knee and ankle, is questionable. He's the only player that has a game status designation. So, get it. What was your question again? I'm sorry. What was it?
So you've got the secondary, let's say Adoree or Kaylee or whoever or Jacorian against Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jamison Williams. Does that matchup worry you more? Or the run game of Gibbs and Montgomery up against the Eagles?
Well, they'll have a plan. I mean, one thing we haven't really talked about as much, but you'll see this. So Fangio's done this. A coach that knows Jeff and I told us this, that Vic will, when he thinks there's an explosive running back, within 5 yards, they'll give the guy a shove when he's coming out of the backfield. Like, look for them to get physical if they can with Gibbs. Eagles have the linebackers to do that. Montgomery's not explosive at all. Gibbs is the guy you got to worry about. In the pass game, you got to slow him up a little bit.
Now, did you know that they were called Sonic and Knuckles?
I know, and you know that Montgomery's the power guy. And you know what's really?
I did not know that. I was not aware that was their nickname.
And, talking to Lions about Gibbs, here's something that surprised them. When they drafted him, they didn't really realize, like, they knew how explosive he was. They had no idea how big physically he was. Like, he's really developed. Mm-hmm. He's just a phenomenal football player. And then Jamison Williams, isn't just funny? We talked about this earlier in the week with you, Mike. Dan Campbell takes over the plays. All of a sudden, John Morton couldn't get him the football. Williams goes off, and that would worry me. Look, there's Adoree Jackson has been just average at best, but Jamison Williams is what we call a big 6'1". He looks like he's 6'3", but he's listed 1. He could fly. Amon-Ra St. Brown, they move him everywhere, but they're not going to have Laporta. Mike, not having to worry about Laporta is a big deal.
All right, well, the injury report, as you just mentioned, yes, it just dropped. The only designation is a questionable one for Lampkin. Everybody else is a full participant for Philadelphia, and that is big news because it is a walking mash unit over at Detroit right now. Are you more interested in Philadelphia 76ers versus Detroit Pistons or Philadelphia Eagles versus Detroit Lions?
Well, I'm glued because I'm a Sixers stan and diehard, but there's so many injuries tonight for both teams. Doran's injury, he's a really underrated player, and obviously Cade Cunningham, and then, of course, Embiid, shocker, and of course, will Paul George ever play for the Sixers?
That whole story is there. But I'll tell you what, tomorrow I am calling the Blue Coats game, 6 o'clock on Roku. Jared McCain will be playing down there, so I'll get a chance to call his game tomorrow night.
That's right, Mike. I look forward to it. Is it on radio or just on Roku?
Just on the Roku channel, from my understanding. I'm pretty sure. Last night's game was ESPN Plus. I think Saturday is Roku Network.
And they don't put it on YouTube, huh?
Highlights. The highlights after the game.
All right. Well, here's the thing, Mike. I'll get your highlights. How about that?
Hey, if you want to watch Jared McCain, I watched 3/4 of the game last night on ESPN Plus. But, yes, tomorrow night, for those of you who want to watch Jared McCain, it's on the Roku channel at 6 o'clock. It is the Blue Coats and the Charlotte Swarm is the Charlotte team. All right, Adam Caplan, everybody, for Football at 4 here on the Sports Bash. Thanks, man.
Sounds good, thanks.
All right, man. There you go. Adam Caplan, Football at 4, powered by the Inside the Birds podcast. We do it every day, 4 o'clock, your Eagles news right here on the Sports Bash.